Today we're rebuilding the Houston Texans. Texans are a team on the rise who made a gigantic splash going to get one of the premier wide receivers in the NFL, Stefon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills. So pair that with one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL and CJ Stroud. The sky is the limit for the Texans going forward. We're going to give ourselves a lot of time here today. It is a 10-year rebuild to see the potential of this Houston Texans team. We'll see the best this Texan team has to offer. MVP for CJ Stroud. Elite play from Stefon Diggs. The only thing that matters is at the end of the day, can we turn this Houston Texans team not only into a Super Bowl champion for the first time in their history, but a dynasty? Houston Texans have one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL in CJ Stroud. As it relates to Madden 24, he is a superstar dev. He is the reigning defending offensive rookie of the year. And I must admit, even though I didn't think he was going to be a bust, I did not think CJ Stroud was going to be this freaking good out the gate. Throw in the emergence of Nico Collins, who was a big play wide receiver, went for 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns. Dell was another member of their ridiculous 2023 class, and even though he missed some time, you certainly saw potential that Dell can develop into a perennial 1,000-yard receiver. Yeah, they also have a top 5 left tackle in the NFL in Laramie Gas Mask Tunsil. And speaking of the 2023 Texans, now on the defensive side of the ball, Stingley, one of their 2 defensive cornerstones, thrived under first-year head coach DeMeco Ryans. At one point, it looked like forever in Sauce Gardner's shadow. Last year, gets himself 5 interceptions and a bump up to a superstar dev trait. He got Defensive Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson Jr., who is an 85 superstar. I love the boldness, the brashness to get Stroud and then trade up and get Will Anderson. I love that move. He was my top player in last year's draft. 10 TFLs, 7 sacks, and he came on hot near the end of the season to really surpass my beloved Jalen Carter in Philadelphia for the rightful Defensive Rookie of the Year award. What a beast he is. But yeah. The 2023 Texans, from that kind of worst of first Cinderella team, went on to make the playoffs. Exciting brand of football. You followed my Twitter. You knew that DeMeco Ryans is my favorite head coach in the NFL. You know the signing of DeMeco Ryans to the Houston Texans was my favorite signing. You know that the Houston Texans were my AFC team, if you will. But not to rest on the success of this young team, they were hyper-aggressive this offseason to be not only a Cinderella next year in 2024, but to be goddamn contenders. They went out, they got Fatou Kassi and Nico Collins on the defensive line. They got Azeez Al-Shaair, linebacker who's played under DeMeco Ryans going back to the days of the San Francisco 49ers. Much like Stingley, where it was like, questionable first-round pick, go for DeMeco Ryans, gets him playing the best football of his career. They get a similar profile players in Jeff Okudah and CJ Henderson, both first-round picks at corners, and I think, and I would not bet against DeMeco Ryans getting those guys playing the best football of their career. But to put on the other side of one of the best young pass rushers in the NFL, they decided, let's go get Danielle Hunter, who's coming off a career season. Yeah, he's 29. Yeah, we're about to embark on a 10-year rebuild. And guys like this aren't going to be here for the long term. But for what he's going to meet in the short term, a 91 X factor coming off 23 TFLs, 16.5 sacks. That is absolute big time. It doesn't stop just on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, they go ahead and get Joe Mixon. Now, my Gator bias, I still like Dameon Pierce, even though he wasn't used last year and kind of was second fiddle to Devin Singletary. Joe Mixon, that is a proven NFL running back. This is a legitimate 1,000-yard player. That's a versatile weapon. He can catch the football in the backfield. He can run with power. He can be a weapon in the red zone. An outstanding signing. But none more so than what happened 45 minutes ago. Was there a move that said to the world, said to the NFL, that the Houston Texans aren't messing around? Just 45 minutes ago, the Houston Texans trade a future second-round pick to the Buffalo Bills for Stefon Diggs. Now, not shocking that Diggs got traded away from the Bills. Seems like there's been drama. Seems like there's been issues there. I think the aggressiveness of the Houston Texans, this is like the same type of aggressiveness we saw when they traded up last year to get Will Anderson in the draft, to pair that with CJ Stroud, and have an all-time draft. I love this move. You get Stefon Diggs, a veteran. Yeah, much like Danielle Hunter, for a 10-year rebuild, it's not a great long-term move. But short-term, this Texans team is going to be expected to compete right away. You pair Diggs with Dalton Schultz at tight end, with Nico Collins on the outside, with Dell in the slot, with now Mixon and Dameon Pierce. And oh, you just got a young superstar quarterback in CJ Stroud. This is going to be a rebuild that we need to win at least one Super Bowl before the Diggs, Danielle Hunter. That's like a 2-3 year period max. Pressure's on. So now looking over our roster, where do we need to go with this draft? We still got a second round pick. Taking a look at the team. Interior of the O-line could always be, if that's BPA. Titus Howard, solid, but in the context of Madden, not the best. But the offense looks like we can rock and roll. Linebacker is concerned. To'o, outside linebacker, the second-year player, Bama. Do we want to see if he can get a normal dev? Potentially. Are we going to run a lot of nickel with Shire and Harris as our primary linebackers? Probably. I think D-tackle could definitely be a position. Autry and Fadukasi on the wrong side of 30 both. We could also look at corner. Desmond King's only on a one-year deal. As much as Okuda and CJ Henderson, you'd like to think they could get that Derek Stingley first round, not going to say bust, but first round not looking great, completely turn themselves around with a legitimate defensive mind. We probably need a corner as well. Something in corner, D-tackle, outside linebacker, interior offensive line is where we need to go during the draft. All right, we are in the second round, pick 11. Here in the 2024 NFL Draft, we have 2 second-round picks this year. And looking at where our needs are, we want interior line. Best interior lineman available is Cooper Beebe. And he might be available at that second-round pick. So I think he's in play for that. And he brings some guard tackle flexibility. D-tackle and linebacker. D-tackle, we got Devondre Sweat and Braden Fisk. I'd be happy with either one of them. I think Sweat's the slightly better player, given the fact that, you know what he's going to be. Fisk tested very well during this draft process, but Sweat is a different beast. Sweat is a plug-and-play, day one starting nose tackle. But the fact that we got 2 swings here at D-tackle leads me to believe maybe one of them still available when it comes around for our second-round pick. Maybe if Sweat gets drafted, say, pick 20, we move up so that we can ensure that we get Fisk. We need a linebacker. Even with Shire, if he does not get a dev trait, we still need a linebacker. The fact that Peyton Wilson is still available, 6'4", 240 pounds, A tackle, A zone coverage, ran a 4.37 at his pro day. Elite speed, elite acceleration. He's the top linebacker available, so if we pass on him, he's probably going to get drafted. I think we do it. We go Peyton Wilson. Whoo! Whoo! We gotta do a little color correction there a little bit. But Peyton Wilson, what a beast. All right, so Devondre Sweat went to the Bengals. Cooper Beebe just went off the board to the Cleveland Browns. So we are kind of now at the mercy that Fisk is going to fall 2 more picks. The Green Bay Packers go Cam Kinchins. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers go Pooney, which allows us to go get one of the biggest winners from the combine process this year. And that is Braden Fisk, D-tackle, Florida State. B's across the board, which is great. 6'5", I mean slightly undersized at 298, but almost a 300-pounder with elite acceleration, great agility, elite speed. Strength could be a little better. I don't know if we're going to be getting a dev trait here, but I think there's a lot of upside. With dev trait or not, he's going to see the field, and he's going to have an opportunity to develop into a player for us. Again, need to hook him up there a little bit. Could get younger in the secondary. Tyke Smith, A-hit power C-man, A-tackle, 5'10", 206. Combine looks decent, 4.50, top 5 in the 3-cone, and a 20-yard shuttle. Ooh, no dev. Now in the 4th round, looking at a little corner depth. Josh Newton, earlier in the college football season, was projected as a first-rounder, so to get him here in the 4th round could be nice value. Letter grades aren't brutal, athletically speaking. About as good as what remains on the board. And, another dev trade. Lacking. With our second 4th round pick, we're going Christian Jones. Just add a little bit of depth to the tackle position as we only have 1 left and 1 right tackle on the roster. Yeah, why not? Why not? Frank Gore Jr., welcome to Houston. So take a look at our draft recap. Got a lot of depth here into day 3. Brownlee, Frank Gore, Ulofoshio, Christian Jones. Newton ended up, no dev trait, but a 70. Anything 70 plus. Especially once you get out of the 2nd round, you feel decent about. Tyke Smith, normal dev, but we get to 72. Fisk, 72 with the normal, but the big get, Peyton Wilson, 73, hidden dev, day 1 starter at linebacker. I'm telling you that right now. Him and Christian Harris Even though we did bring in Alshire, I think we got to go with the upside, and that is Wilson and Harris. There we go. We got Fisk looking good. We got Peyton Wilson looking aight. We're ready for year one of this 10-year Houston Texans rebuild. The dynasty starts now. Tell you what, for a guy that brings a lot of drama, Stefon Diggs, especially for me controlling this team, going with the Canadian, John Mechie III. And let's not sleep on John Mechie. Talk about Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stefon Diggs. Mechie's a dog. Mechie had first-round comps when he was coming out of Alabama. There's still very much a player there, and I love that Stefon Diggs is taking him under his wing. So that's the Texans' week one opponent, huh? Oh, Stefon. Oh, Stefon. Let's go. And we put a hurting. That is how you get your revenge right away for Stefon Diggs. Big time performance, CJ Stroud. Big time performance, Stefon Diggs. Not a bad start at all. 6-1 sitting atop the AFC South, beating Dallas in the Battle of Texas, establishing the Houston Texans as the dominant team in the state of Texas, which is also a priority for me in this rebuild as a Philadelphia Eagle fan. Looking at the numbers, though, wish the offense was a little better, but DeMeco Ryans got a top 10 defense across the board. Now, here's where things get tough. It was almost a foregone conclusion that you're going to pay Nico Collins, but with the addition of Stefon Diggs, you got Tank Dell. Can you really throw this kind of money at Nico Collins for the next 3 seasons? We're going to try, because that is still the window that we're operating on, the rookie quarterback contract for CJ Stroud. We don't got to pay Will Anderson within that time frame, so this is going to be a gigantic 3-year period. It sounds like a breakout scenario for one of my favorite players on the Houston Texans. That is Jalen Petrie. It was my draft crush 2 years ago out of Baylor on a star dev, looking to become a superstar against the Titans. Come on, we won 17-4. No, God damn it. So then, if year one for the Houston Texans, we win the AFC South, which I think is an expectation. Titans are a little bit of a rebuild. Colts are on the come-ups, but we still don't know for sure what they have in Anthony Richardson. The Jags are probably going to be the biggest competition on paper for the Texans, but I think Texans should, especially after the Diggs, Joe Mixon, Danielle Hunter type offseason moves, should be favorites in the South, and that's exactly what we did. Looking at the rankings, top 10 offense, almost a top 10 defense. Pretty good considering, you know, we are still at the infancy of this rebuild. And yeah, we have a lot of win now veterans that are bumping up our team rating. But still, for the most part, most of this team is young starters with their best football ahead of them. So I will take 11-6 every day of the week to start things off. Now, we had no outright award winners, but honorable mention, CJ Stroud making top 10 for the MVP award. And maybe surprisingly enough, Joe Mixon, runner-up for Offensive Player of the Year. Peyton Wilson, runner-up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Would have maybe loved the award outright to help with the old dev trait. Fisk outside the top 5. And a lot of bridesmaids, never a bride. Joe Mixon, number 2 for running back. Stefon Diggs, number 2 for wide receiver. We got 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, 5 picks for CJ Stroud, which, you know, let's be honest, a little whelming to say the least. But I'm going to assume Joe Mixon went off, which he did. 1,600 yards, 19 touchdowns. And here we thought, the Bengals thought this guy was washed. Pretty impressive. Stefon Diggs was regarded as the second best wide receiver in the AFC for not breaking 1,000 yards, but 12 touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards is pretty good. 8-3 for Nico Collins, 7-7 for Tank Dell, 5-4 for Dalton Schultz, almost 4-2 for Mixon out the backfield. So I just think we can turn the heat up a little bit on our passing offense. I think we need to be able, with the talent that we have, you know, maybe it's wishful thinking. I'd like to facilitate at least 2,000-yard receivers consistently. On the defense side, Peyton Wilson, runner-up for Defensive Rookie of the Year, finished with 125 tackles and 12 TFLs. Our sacks, pretty disappointing, to be honest with you. 6 from Will Anderson, 5 from Hunter, 5 from Fisk, 4.5 from Autry. Interception numbers also pretty whelming, which is weird considering we had a top 10 defense, and DeMeco's hell of a DC. Will Anderson got half of his single-season sacks in our debut playoff game. As we defeated the Chargers 24-17. Honestly, it wasn't really that close. We let them score a lot in garbage time. It was a very dominant performance. CJ Stroud, 230, 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon with a solid performance, and obviously Will Anderson taking over on the defensive side. Unfortunately, the wheels fell off in the divisional round, 24-21. Very close against the Dolphins. In a game where our defense punished Tua with 2 interceptions. But at the end of the day, just not enough. Tank Dell, hell of a performance. Just Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. When they needed to make plays, they were able to find. We couldn't find a way to stop Christian Wilkins, who in this alternate universe is still there. 2 veterans, Shair and Jimmy Ward. Some holdovers from DeMeco Ryans' time in San Francisco get our 2 picks. But we can build off of this going into year 2. And for whatever silver lining this really is worth, we did lose to the eventual Super Bowl champion Dolphins, who, man, the Niners just can never win the big one, huh? I was worried a little bit about dev trait regression on the offensive side of the ball, but as a matter of fact, did not happen. We actually got Joe Mixon out of a standing year to go from star up to a superstar. Diggs, which is a down year for wide receivers, was second in wide receiver of the year voting in AFC. He keeps his X factor. Stroud keeps his superstar. I guess maybe in a perfect world, one of Nico Collins and or Tank Dell would have popped off and increased their dev trait, but I think very lucky that a slightly underperforming offense didn't face any dev trait regression. Same can be said with the defensive side of the ball. We did lose dev traits on Autry and Fatukasi, but they're both up there in age, 30 years old, lost their star dev. Did not lose anything on Hunter, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, turns of our big dogs. Peyton Wilson was our lone hidden dev draft pick. It's a star with Harris. Ward kept his dev. Jalen Petrie kept his dev, even though we did brutally miss out on a dev trait scenario in season. So all these considered, things are still trending very much in the right direction for the Texans into our first full offseason. You're going to obviously pick up the 5th-year option here for Derek Stingley and not really worry about it. Everybody else is kind of on the outside looking in. Like, I think we could still develop Kenyon Green. I don't necessarily want to pick him up at 1 year, 8.8. I think we can get a long-term extension hammered out and lower that salary cap number a whole lot. And everyone else here that's kind of on a rental, got to need a new starting safety there for Jimmy Ward. That'll be a spot we look at trying to address during the draft. Robert Woods, Bobby Trees, great veteran. But we need to just start saving some bucks here at the wide receiver room. I do like Farron Barron at kicker. He's been a very reliable kicker for the Texans, so we'll extend him before we hit the open market. Needs for the Texans go to the offseason. I like Scruggs. Didn't give up a sack all season long, but I do think that right tackle spot, Howard, is pretty expensive, pretty much at his ceiling. So getting someone there could be nice. I also think we have some trade candidates. Noah Brown, John Mechie, Damian Pierce could move come draft day. Defensively, I think we find another defensive tackle there that could play with Fisk long-term. Definitely want to look towards corner. Clearly needs safety. Maybe someone like Shair who's on the outside looking in the linebacker room. He's only 28. Maybe there's some value there to trade him before the draft as well. So the board actually felt pretty decent for us in our first free agency spot. We spent our most money here on Jedrick Wills, giving him a 3-year deal worth just over $36 million. He's going to be sliding over to the right-hand side. We got Kohu to play in the slot. Very manageable 2-year, under 10 mil. Same with Melifonu, baby Melifonu. Remember his brother used to be a Madden god. He's pretty nice. He's developed nicely for the Detroit Lions. Only 26. And for us, I think he gives us a nice little short-term 2-year Band-Aid at strong safety next to Jalen Petrie in case the draft board. I still might want to prioritize DB in the first round, but if the board doesn't fall our way, at least we have 2 capable starters here. Look at the most recent mock draft. Outside corner, we have Benjamin Morrison. We use both the top corners. Well, we can't really count Travis Hunter because he's always out of the range. But Will Johnson, fully scouted, is a top 5 talent at pick 21. I'm wondering, with our additional assets here, can we flip some of our surplus requirement on top of pick 26 to move up to 21? Able to make it happen with the Titans. So trading within the division, we send pick 26, Damian Pierce, who's under the final year of his contract, John Mechie, who's entering the final year of his contract, and we're able to get pick 22 and a 4th rounder. Pretty decent value for 2 players for us, honestly, that likely weren't going to resign, even though it pains me to get rid of John Mechie, who's one of my favorite players in the league. And Damian Pierce as well, Gator bias. Oh, this is painful. The Pittsburgh Steelers were interested in Titus Howard, who became surplus requirement for us because of the Jedrick Wills signing. So we're able to get a 4th round pick this year and a 4th round pick next year for Howard, who is, even though the rating's there, he's a solid starting tackle in the NFL. So luckily enough, the mock draft did not lie to us. Sometimes it does, and that's fun content. But still sitting here, the top 2 picks are 2 corners on the board. And we're going to trust the scouting here in Will Johnson. We've used him before. We know he's an absolute beast. And him on the other side of Derek Stingley is going to be very, very overpowered. Coming back around, D tackles, a big need. We got Josh Farmer, Nash, Hutmacher, the Bear. I think we trust this one as regular scouting. So we got Josh Farmer, the Combine. Not bad. Good acceleration, great agility, good speed. Strength could be a little better. Looking at Hutmacher, 3 Bs and a C, 6'4", 330, so a little more of a nose tackle. We get the elite strength. Yeah, we're going to pull the trigger here. Another hidden dev, an absolute beast on the inside. Him and Fisk are going to be dominant, and they complement one another. All right, so the third round, looking at turning maybe a running back here. Kind of breaking it down. You got Rocket Sanders there. Devin Neal is the top projected. Scheme fit as well. We only have C ball carrier vision, but he has elite jumping. Pretty good athlete. I do like a Marion Hampton. I do like Travion Henderson. I think we're going to go Hampton. All things considered. Oh, I thought there was it's my own draft class. I thought there was a shot at a dev. But you know what? Not the worst thing. Because if you had a dev trade, he's not playing over Mixon anytime soon. You get a guy with upside that can eventually be an RB1. That's kind of a perfect situation here. We'll go depth on the interior. Shaq Mason is not getting any younger. We have Bregnong, who I believe was a Wyoming transfer to USC. Double Bs on pass block and run block. Elite agility. Change of direction. Good people mover. He's not your door, and his name's illegal according to Madden, but why not? Let's get Shiloh Sanders, at worst, a special teamer. The outstanding value. I'd be shocked if he falls to this spot. I'll tell you right now, in my draft class, he's not projected to go this late, but JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State, former 5-star recruit. I mean, again, Danielle Hunter's not getting any younger. There's a developmental guy for us. Nyblack here, an athletic tight end. Alabama transfer. Got to try to crush it at Texas with Quinn Ewers. Now, we don't have a 400-pound quarterback like we did in our first rebuild with the Chicago Bears, but Cade Klubnik, 5-star recruit, gives us just a little bit of depth behind CJ Stroud in case we ever get into a holdout scenario. I feel real good with our draft. Real good. Look at the value that we got laid on. Lowest rated is Shiloh Sanders. We got Tuimoloau, 71 in the 4th round. Nyblack, 70 in the 5th round. Klubnik, 68. 69, Jamari Butler, depth linebacker. 69 for Bregnong. 72 for Hampton. Hutmacher in the 2nd round. 73 powerhouse with the dev trade. He's going to be a day 1 starter for us on the D-line. And trading up. Sacrificing Dameon Pierce, Gator bias. Giving up just because so much depth on the Canadian John Mechie yielded us a 6'2", 20-year-old hidden dev corner. That for the next 5, 6, 7, 8. Honestly, I'm counting on Will Johnson and Derek Stingley to be our lockdown corners for the remainder of this rebuild. So the midway point, roughly, we are 4-2, tied for first in the South. Offensively, number 1 offense in the league. Defensively, little off the mark. So where maybe the cause for concern is from year 1 is that I would assume the Houston Texans DeMeco Ryans defense would be elite. Not necessarily what we're getting this in. We're coming off a tough loss against the Broncos in which Christian Harris did get Defensive Player of the Week. And we could parlay that into a breakout D-line scenario. And I hope it's for Fisk. It is for Fisk. Our 2nd round pick last year. Big time dog at a Florida State. Trying to get a star dev. It'll bounce back with a 1-point slim victory over the Seahawks. And with that, did we get the dev trade for Fisk? We did. Hell yeah. That gives both of our young defensive tackles Fisk with the star dev, Hutmacher, hopefully better than star, but it's probably a star. We got some tough contracts coming up. Luckily, we have a whole lot of money to work with. Kenyon Green, we declined the 5th-year option because I think we can get him locked in long-term. We're going to get him until he's 29, offer him a 5-year, 21.5, and gamble that he can continue to develop on that dev trade. Christian Harris at linebacker has been outstanding. I think him and Peyton Wilson are the future of us going forward. DeMeco Ryans knows linebackers. So we're going to develop Christian Harris. The sky's the limit for this guy. I expect him to go dev trade sooner than later. The Patriots, another big-time player for us. Very, very interested in re-signing. So we're going to give him a 4-year, $23.5 million deal. And lastly, again, we're kind of operating within the rookie contract landscape of CJ Stroud. Danielle Hunter looking for 3 years. I'd say if the interest was not there, I think we just appreciate what he was for the 2-year contract and move on. But the fact that he still wants to be here in Houston, let's keep him locked in, and hopefully him and Will Anderson finally start flirting with double-digit sacks. And it was tight, man. End of year 2, we won our last 3 in a row to go 10-7 and steal away the South from the Colts, which that's disappointing. We shouldn't be stealing nothing. We should be outright dominating the South. Our offense was great, top 5 in the league. Our defense, our rush defense was good, but got to figure out the pass defense. That is not acceptable given the talent we have back there. CJ Stroud yet again finishes with some MVP discussions around his play, just outside the top 5. He had a hell of a year. 7th in yards, top 5 in touchdowns, 4,100 yards, 34 touchdowns to 5 picks. Also chipped in with 300 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns. Not nearly as dominant from Joe Mixon, but still pretty damn serviceable. Am a little worried, though, he's at his ceiling because he's at, the age at running backs kind of start to die. That's why we drafted Hampton, who had a nice 7 rushing touchdowns his rookie campaign. The passing numbers were up. Stefon Diggs, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 930 and 11 for Tank Dell, 8 and 9 for Nico Collins. That's acceptable, to be completely honest with you. On the defensive side of the ball, Christian Harris, tackle machine, 4 TFLs, 2 picks, over 100 tackles for Wilson as well. 11.5 sacks for Will Anderson, 6.5 from Hunter, 3 from Fisk, and the interceptions are better than they were a year ago. Quick look, did Juice Struggs give up a sack yet? No, he had a shutout last year. Able misses the first round of the playoffs. Disposed of the Denver Broncos 21-7. Decent enough showing from CJ Stroud outdueling Drake May. But the reality is, yet again, Will Anderson has played and saved his best football for the playoffs with a Defensive Player of the Week showing. Doesn't get much tougher, though, in the division round. We take on the 14-3 Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes coming off a season, 45 touchdowns to only 2 picks. Number 1 offense, a top 10 defense. Damn. For how elite they were, I mean, it was close. 4 points decided us, and one of the best statistical quarterback seasons of all time. It's just, we're not quite there yet. Maybe missing a piece or two. For what silver lining it is, we lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion again. Progression avoided the offensive side of the ball for a 2nd straight season, but also no dev trait progression. CJ Stroud looking for the X factor, looking for a Nico Collins or a Tank Dell to break out. On the defensive side, Will Johnson, our hidden dev first-round pick, pops with a superstar. Anderson keeps his superstar. Hunter keeps his X factor. Stingley keeps his superstar. Fisk and Hutmacher in the inside like the upside, and we have a big dev trait increase going to Christian Harris. Star of the middle of the defense, leading the league in tackles, gets him that bump up. Very obviously, you're going to pick up the 5th-year option for both Will Anderson, which is at $13 million, and how is the 5th-year option for a quarterback $59 million? Kind of a nothing free agency, plus knowing we have the massive, gigantic, insane CJ Stroud contract hanging over our heads. We're just going to chill on the outside here for free agency and improve our squad during the draft. I mean, our team is really solid right now, so we always got to look at who is coming up to needing to get paid. Laramie Tunsil, Derek Stingley, Tank Dell. We got Shaq Mason at guard. Melifon was a starting safety. Kohu's in the slot. Center at starter. So it does look like O-line, DB. We're not going to be able to afford everybody, but best O-line, best DB available is likely the direction we should go. I got a plan for this draft, but it is likely going to require us trading up in the 2nd round. But we're going to start here. Best of the best. Greg Butler, 6'2", 210 corner. We got 2 Bs, an A, and a B. I mean, I assume that we're going to pay Stingley, but this guy looks like a hell of a contingency plan, and at worst would be our 3rd corner. I think this is what we do just because Stingley's the guy that I'm the most worried about. That's got to demand a king's ransom. And yeah, going back-to-back first-round picks. Got Johnson last year, but that's easily the best player right now in the 1st round. We get the dev, Greg Butler. You're going to be starting. Sorry, Kohu. We're going to go Butler, Stingley, and Will Johnson starting next year. Well, it didn't work out. It doesn't always work out. All right, so we stay at pick 25. I was looking at trading up. The Eagles took the tackle that I wanted. So we're going to look at Roy McGee, A hit power, B zone coverage. It's the athleticism that gets me intrigued. We have Melifon, who's set to be a free agent. So McGee looks like BPA right now. We get the dev trait. Usually you get those dev traits with those big-time athletes. Happy with that pick. And I think, honestly, the board can stay true. We should be able to grab some linemen here to close out this draft. Some really nice ones. So we grabbed Kendricks at guard. I was eyeing him. Athletically speaking, was one of the better athletes that's hey, if you're top 3 in pretty much all your categories, you're going to be a layup. Happy that we brought him in. We got our value pick of all value picks, Gardner. I saw the A pass block. A little bummed out that he has D run block, but day 3 talent for, projection, sorry. First, second round talent. Yep, welcome to the squad. The potential value pick here, Wilkerson, 3 Bs. All right. So take a look at our draft recap. Very, very happy with it. Got some nice depth here. Wilkerson with the dev trade. Gardner, 73 hidden dev. Kendrick, 74 hidden dev. McGee, 75 hidden dev. And Butler, 78 hidden dev. What a draft class. Titans in the division, not a brutal class. No necessarily high-end S-tier prospects. Jaguars, couple 75 tackles, 75 outside linebacker. And the Colts, I mean, again, just, not bad, not also great. We easily have the best draft class in the division. I'll say this, though, looking around the league, that is the most 80+ that I have seen in a draft. 82 corner, 81 tackle, 81 wide receiver, 81 corner, 80 linebacker, 80 D tackle, 80 tight end. I want to see the tackle that Philly stole from me. Was he? He didn't even. Okay, well, all right, never mind then. No harm, no foul. The tackle that I wanted, right here, Ronald. This is the guy that I was going to target. 73, hidden dev. Just out of curiosity. Like, this was the guy that I was going to try to trade out for in the second round. We got ourselves a big-time dev trade here in year 3 early. It's only week 3. Will Anderson trying to make the jump from superstar up to an X factor with a very winnable matchup to do it against the Commanders. Oh, we get a shot. We kick the shit out of them. 31-7. But can Will Anderson? That's a tough one, though. That superstar to X factor. Very rare you can get that in the sim. A big moment for the fellas here. Week 5 as we defeat exercising demons from last year's playoff loss against the Chiefs. 38-20. A gigantic performance from CJ Stroud. 5 passing touchdowns. All right, so we're at the midway point, and we're 7-1. We just lost, and it's to the Titans, and it's to the one team in the division you do not want to see that out. We have the #1 offense in the NFL, the top 10 defense in the NFL. The $83 million of salary cap. We got to be smart. We've drafted our successor at center. You kind of can't let Laramie Tunsil leave. Kind of feel like that's the vibe. So we'll offer him a 2-year. I like him for 3, but we'll give him a 2. Derek Stingley, another guy, irreplaceable on the defensive side of the ball. Sky's the limit. He could end up being the best corner in the NFL. Now, here's where we need to get a little bit wise. We haven't really drafted a successor to Joe Mixon, but we can move on from Joe Mixon. It's a bad contract at 30. You got to know to win and get off the expiration date of your running back. We've drafted a replacement at corner. We've drafted a replacement at safety. The question just comes down to, can we pay Tank Dell that amount of money? Stefon Diggs is 32. He's regressing now. Nico Collins is 27. I feel like we try to keep the band together, but this could come back to bite us in the ass when it comes time to pay CJ Stroud. I'm just now realizing at the end of year 3 that I had Stefon Diggs at 13. His number's actually 14. I can already see that's going to be in the comments. Hopefully you see this point. I correct the mistake. We can all do better. We're adults. I'm sorry for letting all of you down. At the end of year 3, we get our 3rd straight AFC South title, even though the Titans were tough. They beat us twice, actually. So they were the one team I do not want to see at any point in the playoffs. I'm sure if we meet them in the second round, it's going to be a banger. The offense, #2 in points scored. Yards, fine. High numbers. Maybe given the wide receiver room that we have of Stefon Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and a 92 quarterback, we'd be better than 18th, but it is what it is. But at least DeMeco got his defense firing on all cylinders, top 5 in the league. Did not have a single award winner, but CJ Stroud, that's a pretty decent season. He was 10th in the league in touchdowns, 31 touchdowns, 4 picks. You will take that, and you'll be pretty happy with that. 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns for Joe Mixon. We got 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns for Tank Dell. Slowly, maybe this is the year that we see him succeed. Stefon Diggs, mentoree, wide receiver 1, the veteran stepping back just a little bit. And even then, Diggs, 900 yards, 9 touchdowns. Pretty solid. Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz were serviceable. Still expect a little more. I mean, it's just the nature of the offense we have here in Houston. Over 100 tackles for both of our star linebackers. 12 sacks for Hunter. Rest of the sacks falling off the side of a cliff. Just very inconsistent numbers, honestly, on both sides of the ball. Happy for Stingley there, getting 4 interceptions. We handled business in the first round of the playoffs, 31-27 over Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Lamar played very well. CJ Stroud was honestly quite pedestrian. It was the rushing offense. Buck 76, 2 touchdowns for Mixon, 2 touchdowns for Hampton, who right now is projected to be our starter next year. The division round, we meet the 11-6 Pittsburgh Steelers, who are pretty damn good across the board. Top 10 offense, top 10 rushing offense, number 3 defense in the NFL. Pretty good, man. They got one of the best. I wouldn't imagine there's many teams that have higher than an 89 overall defense and slim margins. 20-17. We also get the Dolphins knocking off the Chiefs, which is an absolute dub. Game wasn't particularly close. All garbage time points, I like to assume. Again, not a great show for CJ Stroud. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks is not exactly what we are looking for. On the defensive side of the ball, we got some sacks. We got a pick by the rookie Butler. But, man, CJ Stroud has not played well down this playoff run. But I guess you need some other people to step up. 12-5, we got the Dolphins, who have a top 10 offense. Another pretty tough matchup. I mean, we're still early, but you're starting to see some of our veterans. Hey, let's go, year 3 in the Super Bowl. 28-6, it's the defense. The defense has been the constant for us here. Maybe not so much against the Ravens, but I like to think our defense, we held the Steelers to, 7 points for most of that game. We only give up 6 no touchdowns to one of the most explosive offenses in the league. CJ Stroud with a touchdown. Just not a big number. I think there is an element here that we need to explore, potentially changing up the offense. Finding an offensive, be it an OC playbook that could really facilitate the weapons we have on offense, because that's not the case right now. But we have the first of what we hope to be many Super Bowl appearances here in year 3 as the 12-5 Houston Texans take on the 10-7 LA Rams. We are 2 dogs. We are the 3 seed. The Rams were the 4 seed. Look at the Rams. What do they do well? The only thing that's kind of good is their passing defense, but we've not been really winning with our passing offense. So I do think advantage goes to Houston here in this Super Bowl. So, curiosity, Rams, got Josh Allen, Puka Nacua. Aaron Donald has not retired in this world. Kyron Williams has developed nicely. I mean, who do they got to queue? Ooh, Shador Sanders. Okay. Big opportunity here to at least, when this is change up a format of rebuild, you want to build up a streak of Super Bowl. Especially guys, now that I'm doing 10-year rebuilds, I got to be winning a Super Bowl every single rebuild. If I have 10 years, double the length of what we usually do. But if we can get one of these over the line here in year 3, it kind of gives us that, you're playing with house money here for the remainder of the rebuild. And Shador and CJ Stroud trading blows here. Both defenses look to try and capitalize on each other's weakness. I hate that. Just giving up that lazy field goal to give them a slight lead. It's 3rd and 7 here in the 3rd. We're going to hop right in. We'll go jet New Orleans. It looks like Dalton Schultz, especially if you get matched up. Ernest Jones, perhaps, middle linebacker, could work in our favor. Or we'll just check it down to Nico Collins. He gets a great block by Dell. Breaks a couple tackles. CJ Stroud, 10 of 12, 186 yards, and a touchdown. Is that one play going to give them enough? Of course, they need my help seeing this one over the line. Dell, we got a young team that does not have a lot of confidence here in the playoffs. The defense has been doing great, but the offense has yet to really find a rhythm. So we go to Dalton Schultz, falls into the end zone, and the Houston Texans. Oh, that's a brutal celebration there. Houston Texans get a lead. Let's go, brother. Come on, 3rd. There we go. CPU gives us the touchdown. 8-point lead. They get the touchdown. They miss. That is the Madden miss on the 2-point conversion. It is 4th and 1. I'll help them here. Oh, they need a lot of help. Come on, fellas. Where do we go? Diggs. Rocking the new number. We can find him a little easier. We go to number 14. Stefon Diggs. Gets out of bounds. at the 48. 39 seconds. CJ, there we go. Finally a big game. Yes, I got the touchdown there. But he is putting on an absolute show. Had a timeout. We had a timeout. In an attempt to try to get this team over the line before we start seeing, Hunter, Stefon Diggs, Dalton Schultz. These guys are getting old. Joe Mixon, we're seeing the end of Joe Mixon. We've already wasted that opportunity. We need to shake it up. We've had 3 years that we've been divisional champs. But the offense has not been fully optimized. We're not maximizing the talent on the offensive side of the ball. So thank you very much for your service, Ed Green, but fuck off. Looking at the offensive coordinators, we got Atlanta. It's not a bad playbook. We got Philly, we got the Rams, Carolina, Tennessee, Tampa Bay, San Francisco, New Orleans, Buffalo. Wow, a lot of defensive minds. We have Kevin O'Connell, but now we used that in the last rebuild. We went Kevin O'Connell with the Bears. I don't want to double dip on that one. We know that's tried, tested, and true. And these are just garbage. Maybe Cincy. I'm leaning. I think that's probably our best. I mean, what are we doing? Are we looking for Kansas City? Are we looking? He's there. He's there. And you guys know. This is something that we've done, not just new in these rebuilds. I've been looking. That's the thing when the offense, because clearly sometimes the playbooks just don't work. This might be the first time I've been able to actually get a Kansas City playbook. Sometimes you get a luck and maybe get Dallas. Got to get Cincinnati, Philly. I've never got a KC. This should work out very nicely. And reverse retirement, Shaq Mason at right guard retires after 12 seasons. But the good news is we drafted a successor to Shaq Mason. We got 77 star Dev Kendricks. Our center that we drafted, 79 with a superstar dev. So that means the lineman from the Eagles that I wanted to trade in the second round, the tackle, was a superstar dev tackle. We got a superstar dev. We could have had 2. Oh, that's painful. And it couldn't have come at a better time. Yes, Tank Dell went from star to superstar. However, we lost the superstar dev on CJ Stroud. We got the double dev trait regression from X Factor all the way down to a star dev on Stefon Diggs. Incredibly harsh. But I have a pretty good feeling that the offense is going to step up next year. Defensively, lost the superstar on Will Anderson Jr., which is annoying. Gained an X Factor on Christian Harris, which is not as annoying. Some nice players available in free agent. Uncommon players. Never seen Christian Gonzalez here. Deron Payne's uncommon player. Josh Sweat, Kadarius Toney, etc., etc. All looks nice. I don't even want to entertain the idea of window shopping. We got to pay CJ Stroud coming up. We need every dollar and cent we possibly have. Don't really have an open spot on the roster. That's where we have to go. So looking at guys that are going to be up for contract. We got D tackle and Fisk, Willis at tackle, Peyton Wilson, Stefon Diggs, Nico Collins. I think honestly the tough decision is going to come to Will Anderson because he's going to be, obviously you want to keep him, but is the production going to be there? He has not got double-digit sacks inside of 1 year. He's going to want $1 trillion as well. I'm thinking we can get Stroud. We could probably get Nico, maybe Diggs on a short term. Tight end could be a nice position for us to look at in the draft. Tight end, a tackle, maybe a D tackle as well. And we're going to start with a tackle. We got Ben Mahoney, 6'8", 320. Double A, the C pass block. The run block, though, is going to be an A or B. I'd like to just assume that is going to be an A, but it is A lead block, A pass block power, 39 reps, elite strength at 6'8". Should be at least a hidden dev, which he is. And there is likely a affordable potential upgrade over Jedrick Wills at right tackle. Save a little bit of money there. Next pick up, we did scout 2 tight ends. Got to figure out which one is the best. Both got pretty favorable grades. Both are scheme fits. A catch and traffic A, C, and A. Does he have elite strength? He only has great strength, but he's the fastest tight end of the bunch. It's a pretty slow bunch. At 4.61 is the first, and his acceleration is poor. Or we can look at Rodney Dixon. 6'3", 260. A weird build, man. Guy's built like a bowling ball. A pass block, a run block. Physicals has elite strength. Not particularly fast. That's usually a hit. Oh, no. God damn it. Well, we do have Nico Collins and Stefon Diggs set to hit open market. That's a good athlete right here. It's a great athlete. White Lightning. Holy shit. Is he ever? Cheesy nose tackle pick, 6'4", 378. It's actually one of the worst nose tackles I've seen. Usually you get them with 40-plus reps of the bench press, but I'm going to assume the rating's not brutal. Well, here's your hidden dev kicker. Brian McCoy, 7th round. He had B, kick accuracy with elite kick power. That'll do. All right, I do feel pretty decent about the draft class. All things considered, had a lot of picks. 71, 73 hidden dev kicker late. Couple misses for sure. 70 D tackle in the 4th. Better than our nose tackle. Gilmore, the elite of all elite White Lightning wide receivers. 71 with the hidden dev. Dixon, normal dev, but 74. Not a brutal rating. And we got Mahoney, 73 hidden dev tackle, which might just, maybe we see if we can get something for Jedrick Wills in the open market and let Mahoney start right away at right tackle. Titans had a solid draft here. Couple 70s across the board. I was actually looking at this linebacker, Andres Almas, with the hidden dev. I'm sure we'll find out if that's an X factor or not. Eggs with we might have had the worst draft of the division. 75, 74, 72, and a 74 center. The Colts, man, crushed it. 77 corner, 75 safety Mello Holmes, James Brooks at linebacker, and 70 late. We might have had the worst freaking draft. I'll be honest, best offer we got, I think, from Cleveland. Ashton Jeanty, legal name, but unreal player, and I think for how we're going to change with the offense, guy that can catch out the backfield. He's one of the best catching running backs in all college football right now for Boise State. I'm in. And he's an upgrade right now as a dev trade over Hampton. He is a year older, and we can still utilize Hampton more as a power back. But we got Jeanty, 24 years old, star dev, 79, 92 speed, 92 acceleration, pretty versatile at the backfield, 75 catching, 72 short route running. He could be our Jerick McKinnon sprinkled in with an Isaiah Pacheco, knowing that we're going with that Kansas City offense. All right, a lot to process right here. First, the record's dog shit. The passing offense is all right. Everything else, not great. We got 2 breakouts here against a very winnable matchup against Carolina. Up first is Fisk at D tackle. Chance to become a superstar if we can do a job or he stands out against the run game of the Carolina Panthers. We have CJ Stroud, who's obviously been playing well, for him to trigger a breakout scenario, coming off a stellar game with a big opportunity against not a particularly great Carolina Panthers defense, for him to make amends after that dev trait regression last season where he was a star dev. That's not good enough. He's too damn good to be just a star dev. Well, yeah, handle business, baby. 35-13. Up first, we got Fisk. It's a wet fart, man. We have not had the best of rolls here. Not everything, we have a great roster, but not everything has rolled our way. We've had struggles with our playbook, and I've had multiple breakout scenarios not hit. But CJ Stroud, player of the week. I don't know if he got it. Yeah, I mean, that'd be a slap in the face, though, honestly. To get a breakout scenario of your star dev quarterback, he gets offensive player of the freaking week, and he still doesn't go up dev. That is brutal. On top of that, we're not going to get a discount on CJ Stroud because he lost his dev trade. Gonna need to pay that man. So we'll go with 7 years, 400. Oh my God, that's disgusting. Honestly, I gotta wait and see with Will Anderson. I'm happy that there is the interest there, but the production is nowhere near justified bringing him in. I think Nico Collins is gonna be odd man out for the wide receiver room. We got Peyton Wilson, 2nd round pick. I mean, he's been solid. Him, I like to keep him back there in the middle of the defense. Braden Fisk, that's a lot of money for a guy that hasn't been overly productive as well. It's just hard to pay our D-line. They have not been good. And the fact that we, get Stefon Diggs looking for 23 a year. He's kind of like the reason why we did this rebuild. So I'll throw him some money there. Just because, honestly, he's on the picture, the thumbnail, if you will. But it's going to have to be Fisk and or Will Anderson. They're going to play for their contract this year. I got to see double-digit sacks. Big week late, starting to get a little momentum. Might be challenging for a wild card spot. Beat the Jets 31-17. CJ Stroud, 3 touchdowns. Another player of the week performance. And on top of that, we got, in my opinion, probably one of the best in-game scenarios that you can get in a regular season. The old bench boost, back-to-back games, no sacks. So we earn a nice 10K XP for everyone on the O-line. This is our first little bit of a hiccup season going to the Kansas City offense. I expected more of what we just saw week 18, 56-7 against the Patriots on 6 touchdowns for Stroud, 3 picks for Derek Stingley. That's kind of what I expected, and it was not the case more often than not. But still, even in a down year, second place in the AFC South, we get ourselves a ticket to the playoffs here in the wild card round. We finish with a top 5 offense, almost top 10 defense. Not bad, but I mean, for an 89 overall team across the board, I still expect better. But yeah, it's working. CJ Stroud, second in yards and touchdowns, 4,400 yards, 43 tuds. Also won quarterback of the year. Stefon Diggs, who I moved into the slot, is wide receiver of the year. Dell right there with him. And we got average play at a GT, not bad, but the big 2. Dell, 77 catches. 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. Stefon Diggs, wide receiver of the year. 1,200 yards, 18 touchdowns. 955 and 8 for Schultz. Nico Collins, decent numbers as well. On the defensive side, we know familiar suspects for the top 2 tacklers. Our sacks are... God damn, man. They're going to play like this. They deserve to get paid. I don't know if there's enough money to go around for Will Anderson and Fisk, but we'll try our best. Derek Stingley did get, obviously, the hat tricks of picks the final week. Finished with 5. But only 6 total picks on the year is not great. All right, we're going back first round of the playoffs. Baltimore. B-more. We beat them last year and this year. In a year that we just couldn't put it all together. Something fell off this whole season. Even a disappointing season, we got some good news. CJ Stroud up to a superstar dev. Stefon Diggs, even though we're facing some immense regression, back up to a superstar dev off an 18-touchdown season. While we faced a little bit of dev regression here, Harris loses his X Factor, Hunter loses his X Factor, more of an age thing. Stingley gained an X Factor. Fisk goes from star to superstar. He's looking for a contract. And obviously Will Anderson, even though there wasn't a dev trade increase, he's one of the best young pass rushers in the NFL. I don't know if we can make it work. All right, we got 64 mil. Give Will Anderson a 4-year. Whoa, really? What's the tag number on it? All right, let's go to Fisk. What about you, a 3-year? Okay, so we got Fisk. Will Anderson franchise tag is 3rd. I mean, I wasn't planning on spending money anyways on the open market, so if he wants to play hardball, him and his agent will do the exact same. I'll be honest, not even going to window shop this offseason. We're going to go right to the draft where we need a tight end, potentially. Just honestly see if we get a tight end with a higher ceiling. Even though we got some youthful tight ends, none of them have a dev trait. Clearly, on the defensive side, you know, we do have Anderson playing on a franchise tag. Ideally, we can come to a contract agreement. Danielle Hunter, however, is likely, you know, considering retirement sooner than later. So, you know, it's unlikely where we're going to pick. Usually playoff teams don't get a good shot at drafting a really good edge rusher. But ideally, in a perfect world, an edge rusher falls into our lap. All right, so sitting here and waiting at pick 22, all the good edge rushers passed us by. We have David Strickland here, who does look like a pretty legit athlete. A tackle, but I'll be honest, D power move, B finesse move. Don't know his pursuit. You're kind of gambling on the... I mean, the athlete's not bad. We have at left outside linebacker, Ed Johnson is another legitimate first rounder. We have, I mean, a couple there. Ed Johnson, though, might be the best of the bunch. You get the elite 4-5. Ooh. He was a guy, I didn't even scout him because I didn't think he was still going to be on the board. So Ed Johnson, welcome to the team. Welcome to the team, Ed Johnson. Pretty strong tight end class. I think there's going to be multiple guys. Like I think this guy's going to be good, but there's absolutely a shot that there's other players that are better. He's just the best athlete of the bunch. Elite acceleration, great speed, great strength, A awareness, A catch of traffic, A pass block, B run block. I'm just going with the best athlete with the best shot at a dev trait, which is exactly what we get. Woo-wee, 91 acceleration on a tight end. I will be honest, after the third round, that's terrible board. There was not one steal, one good juicy find to be had, unfortunately. But first few picks, needed them. Tight end, position of need, 73 hidden dev. Johnson, 74. Now, he is going to be moving down to defensive end in our scheme. Wonder if that might bump his rating up a point. And it does, as it becomes the understudy to Danielle Hunter this season. Titans had a solid draft, but nothing too crazy. Got themselves a nice 72 normal dev quarterback at pick 1-1. Nice. Jags grabbed themselves a tight end, 75 in the first round. Okay, not bad. Battle of the two tight ends from this draft class between us and them. Oh, God damn it. All right. Give it to the Colts here. Got an 81 overall running back. Whew. 99 juke move. Jesus. LaShawn McCoy 2.0. Now we're at the beginning of our year 5, which for usual rebuilds, this is the Super Bowl or bust year. And to be honest, 86 overall for our team is not great for 5 years. I'm going to be honest. Usually our teams are in the 90s, 91, 92. But in these 10-year rebuilds, you can't keep everybody. So that's why our roster is not as good. But on paper, I mean, I'm excited. We got Stefon Diggs, who's still crushing it, even though the regression is definitely set in. Tank Dell's been great. We got 99 speed, 99 acceleration, 99 agility, 99 change of direction. Mr. Gilmore, White Lightning, who's got to need to step up. GT needs to step up. O-line, Tunsil Gardner, superstar. Rest of the O-line has their best football ahead of them. Just brought ourselves in a new hidden dev tight end. And obviously CJ Stroud last year, our first year in our new offense, goes from star to superstar. I'm honestly expecting him again here in year 5 to be an MVP contender with a good shot at going up to an X Factor. DeMeco Ryans' defense has been hit or miss. Has been inconsistent is probably the best way to kind of break it down. But the defense itself is pretty good. Peyton Wilson and Harris at linebacker. McGee and Petrie at safety. Stingley, X Factor. We got Butler. We got Will Johnson. We got another little hidden dev there. The D-line just paid Will Anderson. Psych. He didn't want to, takes 2 to tango. So we technically paid him, but he's on the franchise tag. You got Hutmacher. You got Fisk, who went up dev trait, got himself a new contract. Get Danielle Hunter, who could retire at any minute. That's why we drafted the pass rusher Johnson to be a successor, and or if things go sour on our contract here, we can always look at putting Johnson over there. But ideally, in a perfect world, Johnson can just succeed Danielle Hunter, and we can get Anderson locked in to a long-term deal. But I'm going to be honest, I think my team is better than this 86 overall that we were being classified as, and I think we are here in year 5. We're going to go on a run. So to get midway point of year number 5, 7-1, sitting atop the AFC South with a number 3 offense and a top 10 defense. With $73 million of available salary cap, we have some interesting decisions to make. First up, we got the vet Danielle Hunter looking to get paid. Now, we do have his successor in place, but I think honestly it all comes down to Will Anderson. If Will Anderson signs on, then, we kind of probably have to go with the younger guy here. Let Hunter walk if he still wants to continue to play. Maybe ideally he retires, and we could go with Eddie Johnson as a successor. But happy to get Will Anderson locked in. Glad we don't have very similar to the last rebuild we did with the Bears, where he couldn't extend Caleb Williams. He held out. Things got ugly. Not the case here with Houston. Will Anderson's a good guy. Mocker simply looking for too much money at his production price point. GT, who we traded for, it's not. If you'll take a 3-year deal here, again, we're not in the business of overpaying running backs, especially given how our offense is very much a passing attack right now. So I'm thinking we're going to need a new running back, and I wouldn't rule if Danielle Hunter if he has a big year again, double-digit sacks, doesn't want to retire, and we got some extra money kicking around, maybe. That's the best answer I can give right now. We close out year 5 with another AFC South title, 14-3, the number 2 offense in the league, number 5 defense, which finally we're getting some DeMeco Ryans style defense here. Only took us 5 years, but we got here. On top of the first round bye, CJ Stroud has won an MVP award. Second in yards, first in touchdowns. 4,800 yards, 46 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. Also ran for another 400 yards on top of that. Easily and rightfully your NFL MVP. We got 3,000-yard receiver Stefon Diggs, ageless wonder, Tank Dell, and our rookie tight end, Quentin Applewhite, trying to be a little bit of the Kelsey of our offense. 89 catches, 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 888 and 6 from Gilmore. It's not outside the Rebel possibility to think that we can't get 4,000-yard receivers here in Houston. Shout out to DeMeco Ryans, Coach of the Year. Applewhite with his ridiculous season got himself an Offensive Rookie of the Year. CJ Stroud with the MVP also gets Quarterback of the Year. On the defensive side, Harrison Wilson, your tackle leaders as always. Sacks are gross. I just gave $100 million for 6.5 sacks. What? Greg Butler, 4 picks, 3 and 3 for Stingley and McGee. Not bad, but those sack numbers are butt cheeks. And after our first round bye, we handle business in the divisional round against the 7-seed Denver Broncos. But I'm going to be honest, I'm a little disappointed that it took us to overtime to outduel Drake May. And again, CJ Stroud continues to struggle in the playoffs. I've yet to see him put up a 4-touchdown, no interception type performance. Am I worried? Not overly. Man, oh man, we are utilizing the tight ends. Defense, there we go. Some sacks across. I love seeing 2 TFLs and a sack from Ed Johnson, the rookie. But need more out of the quarterback. With the Super Bowl on the line. Made the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Last year, we're 1 and done in the playoffs, which was hopefully an out year. Because we have at an 89 overall team. A team that we think we can go on and win it with. But we're going up against the Colts with the number 1 rushing offense. Almost a top 5 offense. Their defense, not the best. Maybe I'll show them a sign of disrespect here and not auto-spending my players. And we win a close one, 21-17 with a CJ Stroud. Hey, shout out to him, man. He stepped up. Player of the Week performance, 400 yards passing and 2 tutties. Before we take on the very impressive Atlanta Falcons, who have the number 5 offense and the number 1 defense, this is truly the best of the best Super Bowl matchup this year. We have a couple upgrades going into this matchup. On the offensive side of the ball, after winning Offensive Rookie of the Year and having a dominant campaign, Quentin Applewhite goes from star up to a superstar. Sky's the limit for this guy. And although he regressed down from an X Factor to a star dev very quickly due to age and due to lack of production, we are just as quickly back up to an X Factor for the ageless wonder Stefon Diggs, who is looking to get finally a Super Bowl trophy here in year 5. Lots of regression on the defense. Hunter lost his dev, which is, we're ready to probably move on there with Johnson up there. He's lost the superstar on Christian Harris, lost the superstar on Will Johnson, but we did gain a superstar on Greg Butler here. But the biggest upgrade is our $400 trillion billion quarterback, CJ Stroud, up to a superstar X Factor off an MVP campaign. And it's only a matter of time till he officially joins the 99 club. All right, big Super Bowl. It's going to be a tough one. This is not, obviously I think our team is ready to win, but this Atlanta team matches up pretty well. And they very much look and are built like a Super Bowl contender. As we trade touchdowns in the opening, able to get a last-second score. We're going to settle for a field goal, which I don't love. Would love to see the team punch this one and equalize. That is 2 straight field goal attempts. Fourth quarter, 4th and 3 on the 32, and we are going to go for it. All right, I love it. What do we got? We got Tank Dell deep, Applewhite, who's been money. We got Stefon Diggs. If we need a chain mover, I want to try to go to the tight end. Applewhite in space, matched up against a linebacker. Looks for contact. And that is now a goal-to-go situation for our Houston Texans, who punch it away. Get the touchdown. Trying to play some tough defense here against the Falcons. Hold them to a field goal. We are tied up at 17. And we got a 4th and 2. Oh. Really? Huh? You think we're going to let them have a chance? Go for the win. Go for the jugular. I like Gene T out the backfield here. I like it a lot. No! Can we get the instant score in overtime? 4th and 1. How are they still going for it? Okay. This is intense. This is technically a second overtime game. How fast is this tight end? Oh, come on! Applewhite, the rookie. Rookie tight ends are never good unless their name is Applewhite. 100-some catches, pretty much Travis Kelce reincarnated. Gets matched up on a slow linebacker and takes that one. I think that's it. Yes! The Houston Texans, our Super Bowl champions. We did it under the old rules of a 5-year rebuild. We still got 5 more to go. But we got a lot of big contracts on this team. I think the next couple free agency periods for it is not going to be favorable to the Texans. I think it's going to be a lot of tough decisions. We got a lot of guys on the offensive line. We got a lot of guys in skill position spots that we just aren't going to have the money to pay. Because honestly, it feels like buyer's remorse a little bit. Regretfully, we played 6.5 sack Will Anderson, $120-some million. But very important in this window, while we have likely the strongest this team is going to be in this rebuild, we got at least one Super Bowl. It goes down as a successful Super Bowl, and hopefully not our last. Shout out DeMeco Ryans, Coach of the Year. Shout out CJ Stroud, NFL MVP. I thought we choked it there. I mean, the last Super Bowl against the Rams, year 3, the clock ran out on us, even though we had a timeout to try to win it. This one here, go for it on 4th down, short of the sticks. We get an opportunity in overtime. We haven't made it easy on ourselves, but you might as well, with his league MVP, give Super Bowl MVP to CJ Stroud. I'm just going to show this just in case he goes out on top. I'd love to see him run it back for another year, but Stefon Diggs, 1,170 receptions, 15,000 yards receiving, 125 touchdowns, hopefully, and counting. Man, he makes the top of the list. Don't even got to go looking for it. Thanks, homie. For a little known fact, the first year I ever started doing draft content here on YouTube, he was my sleeper wide receiver. Stefon Diggs was like, he's my guy. Ended up going, 5th round, 4th, 5th, 6th round to the Vikings. Rest is history. Stefon Diggs since day one. He was like my first big hit that made me think maybe I know a thing or two. Maybe I could see a thing or two when looking at these college players. So shout out Stefon Diggs, an important player in the history of the C4 YouTube channel and this rebuild. I will say with retirement of Stefon Diggs, we do have 69 nice salary cap remaining, so I think we should try at least see if Laremy Tunsil wants to run it back one more year. We do not have a successor in place. I think Hutmacher, still a little too expensive. Wish that number was coming under a 10 million cap hit, because I mean his ceiling's probably 85, 86. I know he is one of our real players, but it's easy to draft and replace D tackles. Sorry, not sorry. D tackles, corners, interior linemen, very easy to replace. You got to be very good and or a bargain for me to want to re-sign you. Definitely need to go running back early in this draft. We're going to look for the best of the bunch, which I think still should be somewhat cost efficient. And I think writing's on the wall to move on from Danielle Hunter. With Stefon Diggs retiring, really was kind of hoping we could get a nice little Band-Aid at wide receiver, but the market's not really, if you're looking for normal dev players, sure, there's a bunch of them. Not exactly what we're looking for. We want to get younger at running back. We have a successor in place at edge rush. D tackle, I guess if there was a body that we could throw in there, but, Hutmacher's still the best player available, and he's getting what he wants on the open market. So I think, again, we just reload in the draft. So our needs go to the draft. We need a running back. Running back just went at pick 31. Wasn't necessarily the guy that I fell in love with. I got Ben Griffin here. 5'11", 225, day 3. We got 2 A's and a B. That's likely going to be my running back. That's very cost efficient. We could look at a third wide receiver. Hayden Curtis and Sasser both look legit. They're both offer some pretty decent speed. Elite acceleration here on Curtis, which is solid. Sasser, A deeper running, B release, B catching. And he also comes in with 4.26, which looks good, but we can't let that mislead us. He only has great acceleration, great speed. Usually you just trust the base ratings over the combine pro day numbers. If you have to, if there's a discrepancy, always go with the base rating. And I mean, if we draft a wide receiver in the first round, they're going to be our 4th option. They're going to be behind our speedster. They're going to be behind Tank Dell. They're going to be behind our tight end. So I think our next biggest need is D tackle. And we got Glenn Cameron here. He's a D end, but that would be a D tackle. 6'3", 307. Double A and a B. A block shed, A tackle, B power move. Wish the combine was a little better, but again, you grade those testing numbers against a D tackle. Not that bad. We have Jerry Lawrence, 3 Bs and an A at D tackle. Elite accelerator like this. Pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. The last guy looked interesting was Dom Cobb here at linebacker. Just because our linebackers getting old, Peyton Wilson, etc. And this is just a freak. Almost a 4.30 speed. It's the fastest linebacker I've seen in a very long time. Elites in strength, speed, agility. Even though the stats aren't the best, I bet he's superstar, if not an X factor. So it's like, do we want that at linebacker where he's going to be a depth guy right now? Do we... You know what? Actually, you know what could be... Let me go see the contracts here. Do I have a linebacker out of contract? If one of them are out of contract this year, I'm going to go with the exciting pick here with Cobb. Nope. Linebackers all under contract, so we got to use our head here. I guess we'll go with the best D tackle available. For my money, our best option right now is Glenn Cameron, and kicking him back inside the D tackle, we get ourselves a hidden dev trait, 85 acceleration, 89 strength, 74 speed. Pretty good. Both of our starting safeties are out of contract this upcoming year. If we get a hit here in Juan Gilbert, aka just give me a dev trait, that could help us out. B, hit power, A, tackle. C zone coverage. So a lot of times you get these run support players. They're complete liabilities in coverage. Elite strength. Top 5 in the 40. 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle. I like it. I like it a lot. I think BPA remaining for us is Jeremiah Thierry out of Cincinnati. A press, A catching, B zone. Elite jumping. 4.4 speed. Sure. Why not? Give me another one. We got Will Johnson coming up for contract. I mean, superstar. I do want to probably try to pay him, prioritize him. But we got a very nice player here. And really, final pick on my board here. End of the 4th round, we're going to grab the running back. I don't, athletically speaking, I don't think there's a dev trade in. Maybe. I mean, look at that. Top 5 in the 40-yard dash at the pro day. First in bench, vert, and broad jump. But I'm expecting like 75 normal. But he's going to be thrown into the starting spot. See what he can do. We are very, very happy. We got Glenn Cameron, 75, classified as a D-end. It's a great +2 buff when we slide him inside the D tackle, making it look like that much more of a home run. On top of that, we got Mr. Gilbert, 74 hidden dev, 69, maybe a little low in the rating with Thierry, but he is a dev trait. Griffin, 76. Normal dev. Rest of the draft, I mean, my board was completely shot at this point. But those first 4 picks, all very, very good. Titans had a solid draft here. They've just sucked this whole time. Another top pick. You get a 74 line. Does he at least have a dev trait this time? Last time I remember, they got that quarterback at 1-1. That was the worst pick I've seen in a minute. Jags had a nice draft. Got a 76 running back in the first round. Couple linemen. Colts, not so much, but 370 plus, 470 plus players ain't bad, but very much pat ourselves on the back for having the best draft in the division yet again. No better way than starting year number 6 with a week 1 31-28 victory over the OP Cheese Kansas City Chiefs on the back of a player of the week performance for CJ Stroud. You tell me the better way to start, because I won't believe you. Also, insane Justin Jefferson. Well, we got Roy McGee, who's up for a contract on that star dev. I'll say what, man, he gets a superstar dev. He can make Jalen Petrie odd man out because we only have so much money to go around in that secondary. Well, makes that a little bit easier. Come contract negotiation time, Roy McGee, guy that just can't get the job done. So with $65 million of cap room, we got Larry Tunsil. We'll wait till the end of the year. Perfect world, he probably retires. But if not, I mean, 1-year rentals ain't the worst thing you could be doing operating there with him. We got Jalen Petrie for a 3-year deal. Not great at his age. We got Roy McGee, who's looking for less money. He's only I think, even though he missed the dev trade, I think we could go McGee, and then the safety, hidden dev safety we just drafted can succeed Jalen Petrie. We could save a little bit of money there. We got a lot of players looking to get paid on the O-line. Eddie Kendricks. Oh, that's a lot. I think we could keep one of our linemen. And Gardner does have the dev trait. And I think we just kind of lock him in for the remainder of the rebuild. I mean, center's the least important position, some may say. But it's kind of what you need to do. We got Tank Dell looking to get paid. 4 years, 80. We'll get him locked in. We got Will Johnson wanting to get paid. 5 years, 103. We're throwing around money left, right, and center. And it looks like Kendricks and Jalen Petrie on top. Unless we get a lot of money, Laramie Tunsil as well are going to have to be expendable this offseason. Well, this is an interesting one. We got Ben Griffin, our starting running back on the normal dev with a chance to break out. Very reasonable, very attainable against the 49ers. Now, it's always going to be tough to get the 100 rushing yards against a great defense like the 49ers. But rushing touchdowns on the other hand, we only need 2. Come on, buddy, need 1 more. Find a way. Stay out there. 1 more. Come on. Get this in the first quarter. Win, lose, or draw. We got ourselves running back with some upside. Let's go. What a beast. Peyton Hillis 2.0. There we go. Ben Griffin. Middle name, hopefully, Hill. Shout out Florida Gators. Up to a star dev. And got a nice 5K XP. And here in year 6, what better way to defend your Super Bowl crown by not making the playoffs? 9-7, third in the AFC South. Our offense, I mean, outside of the rushing, but again, we know why the rushing's not good. I'm not going to harp on that because we're such an elite passing offense is good. The rushing defense is good. Everything else, I have, how am I consistently, if things are going to look bad, it's the passing defense. Someone explain to me. Because sometimes it's been good. Sometimes, how does a 99, 96, 87, 87, 86 secondary? Oh, they pick up the linebackers? Oh, what about my 89 and 93 both cover linebackers? How are we so fucking bad? Shout out Ben Griffin, Rookie of the Year. Would be cool if we can get a double dev trade on the kid. And we also got DB of the Year for Derek Stingley Jr. Will Johnson, how are we... Make it make sense. I have the 2 of the 3 best DBs, and our passing defense is one of the worst in the league. Statistically, Stroud fell off a little bit. Obviously, the loss to Stefon Diggs, and we didn't really replace that. Has been felt. Gilmore, the speedster, stepped up. Applewhite stepped up. Tank Dell under 1,000's a little bit of a wet fart, to be honest with you. Defensively, tackles are where they're at. Anderson, I love seeing that after paying him. 21 TFLs, 10 sacks, 9 from Fisk, 7 picks Stingley, 4 from Will Johnson. Great interception numbers, but are we only just getting, like, the only thing that makes sense is we're just letting teams cook us over the 20s. We get a lot of red zone turnovers. I mean, he has 200 interception yards. That's really good. Well, if we're not going to go on and even remotely challenge, shout out to the Cardinals, which, just to add right now, we are going to be finishing up the Cardinals series. That is coming very soon. Shout out Laramie Tunsil, most iconic draft night fall maybe I've ever seen. But he went on, had an all-world career at left tackle. Now we need to do a job of replacing him this offseason. So in closing, because we have some turnover, Tunsil retired, I kicked Mahoney from left to right tackle. We do need a guard. We do need a right tackle. Applewhite up to an X Factor. Stroud keeps his X Factor. Gilmore up to a superstar. Griffin, after winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, our little power back, up to a superstar. Fortunately, not all positives, as Tank Dell has lost his X Factor. But that probably is due to him being 30, which in the eyes of Madden means you suck. Now in free agency, went out, got ourselves a very nice bargain at right tackle. Should be plug and play. 6'3", 334, 79 overall with a dev trait, 25. We got him locked in for the Madden Rebuild, 4 years, under 20. Right around 20, which is very affordable. All right, so I focused on wide receivers this year because I knew it was concerning with our room with Tank Dell kind of getting to that age, and we only really have 2 weapons. So Poindexter seems to be the best. I mean, I could have scouted Curtis, but for where we were picking, it made the most sense to get the guy that's last projected to go in the first round, but Poindexter looks awesome. First round talent. I mean, he's not a top 5, but 3 Bs and an A, and he also brings 4.3 speed. I wish that was elite speed in the ratings, but he looks really good. We also need a guard, so I scouted 3 A's in Stevens, who looks pretty damn good as well. And we have Friedman down here a little bit later. 2 A's and a B, and that run block at worst is a B. So I think we go wide receiver ideally, and then at the center and or Friedman's there we go, 2 plug-and-play starters. But just trying to get a vibe of where Poindexter is going. Is he going in the first round? Is he in range for the good guys? Well, we didn't make the playoffs, so He absolutely is in range. Actually, we might have even had a shot at Curtis. I wish I scouted him. Could be the slightly better player. But I think we'll go wide receiver and then interior line in the second round. With the 15th pick in the draft, the Houston Texans. Please, no normal depth. There's a chance. Wide receivers are very finicky. Either you get wide receivers that are 75, 76, 77 hidden depth, or you get wide receivers that are 77, 78 normal. Poindexter has a shot, but he has the athletic background that I thought it was a good shot. We would get a hidden depth here. And hell of an athlete, man. He's going to be able to come in and contribute right away as a wide receiver 3 and slowly work his way up his depth chart as Tank Dell starts to regress. Both the guard and center are available. Let's try to get both of them because just, interior lineman for me or interior lineman. This guy's a center guard. AAA, we roll with him, get the dev trait, maybe be aggressive, get the other guard in the third round. Very confident he's going to have a dev trait as well, and it gives us some cost control players on the interior of that line. Bastards. I want to trade up. I think he's going to be gone. His replacement is Kenyon Green, who's entering the final year of his contract. That's expensive, especially to division rival. We're going to do it because we're thinking about the future. Our salary cap, we're not going to be able to, Kenyon Green, he's going to be one and done. Likely, that's what this replacement is. If this guard is good, he is going to take Kenyon Green's spot. If this guard sucks, we just gave up Kenyon Green. Day 1 starter, plug-and-play starter, long-term developmental player. Please have a dev trait. Let's go! Right call. Trying to go BPA. There's a corner and a D. We'll start with the D tackle. Salvador Romero, just undersized, but that A finesse move. C tackle. Good combine. Very good athlete. Damn. Well, last player on our board here. Another pretty well key rating player to be available still here. A press, B zone. The man kind of sucks, but he's A catching, elite jumping. Hell yeah. Let's go, brother. Oh, take a look at our draft recap. Pretty happy with how things kind of fell. Got some nice depth there late. Obviously, 69 hidden depth corner in the 4th round. Romero, I thought he was going to be a lot better. That is a miss. Luckily, Friedman, 74. So we replaced, an 84 star dev guard with a 74, at least, star dev guard. Stevens is also going to kick into guard, 74, with a dev trait. And Poindexter, 76. Oh, baby. Let's go. All right, Titans continue to be average at best at drafting. Another first overall pick for them, and they're just not doing a good job. The Titans have picked top 5, it feels like every year, 6 years straight. Average draft from the Jags, nothing too crazy. And the Colts, hey, had a nice one there. Ooh, we got a wideout, they got a wideout. Could be a rivalry, a brewing. Brian Coupland got some great speed as well. Nice athlete. 97 spec. Usually I don't like to peek behind the hood, but I see a weird trait like that. Makes me wonder. Okay. I like to give ourselves a pat on the back again, saying we're the best draft in the division. I will say, just because we played him in the first preseason game, one of the more shocking moves I've seen in a franchise mode, the Chiefs let Mahomes walk, and he's going to finish his career as a Raider. Huh? At the midway point of year number 7, back on top here in the South, so at least it doesn't look like a down year. We're coming off a big divisional victory, 37-18 over the Titans, in which CJ Stroud, another player of the week performance, 299 yards, 3 tuds. Now this is going to be a tight one for free agency, 40 mil, so we can't sign everyone. Fisk, kind of at that price point, we got to move on. I can't pay 70, even though Chris Harris has been great, you just can't pay 77 million freaking dollars there. We have Gilmore. This one's a little more reasonable. Under 10 mil for a guy that's superstar. And with everyone on our offense, I don't think there's any sign of slowing down. Secondary. We got Stingley. We got Butler. Butler's guy we got to lock up long term. We'll get him locked in for the remainder of the rebuild. Stingley has been incredible. Honestly, we want to... it's going to be close. I think we'll be able to get him at the end of the year. Coming off a 7 interception season. You don't want to let him walk. And I think at the end of the year, when we get the salary cap bump, we'll be able to get him locked in. Obviously, we got 3 years left of this rebuild, so I'd like to get him for 3 years. And at the end of year 7, back where we belong. See you, Cat. Up on top of the AFC South, 13-4. Kind of, really, our rankings are where they were last year when we didn't even make the playoffs. Offense, passing offense, great. Defense overall, underperforming for a DeMeco Ryans unit. At least we're very difficult to run the football against. The good news, CJ Stroud wins his second MVP award. And he was first in touchdowns, second in yards in the league. 4,400 yards, 38 touchdowns, 5 picks. Also chipped in 368 yards rushing and 3 rushing touchdowns. Shout out Will Anderson, having a hell of a year. 3rd place, Defensive Player of the Year, given the fact that he's underperformed. Hell yeah. God damn, hell of a year. 10 sacks, 31 TFLs. Good God. We also got Offensive Rookie of the Year for our first round pick, wide receiver Nigel Poindexter, where he had a hell of a year. Hell of a rookie campaign in the slot. 72 catches, 972 yards, 14 touchdowns for the superstar wide receiver with an opportunity to potentially go up dev for winning Rookie of the Year. That would be sensational. Gilmore was solid. Applewhite continues to dominate at tight end. And even though he's getting up there in age, even though he's starting to regress, Tank Dell better than ever. Another MVP campaign for CJ Stroud. Unstoppable. Is there a better quarterback in the league right now? Big arm, big time, big money throws, or being able to thread the needle in the red zone tight. It's CJ Stroud's world, and we're just living in it. I mean, when he gets his X Factor on, easy mode. And we handle business first round of the playoffs, 28-20, close matchup, but CJ Stroud just too much against the Jags. I don't know why. I had a feeling the Colts would beat us, cause us more trouble than that, but it is setting up a 1-versus-1 seed in the Super Bowl, but 28-10. And you know what? We commented early on, CJ Stroud was like a regular season quarterback. Not anymore. From winning the Super Bowl in year 5 to year 6, not making the playoffs, we are back in the Super Bowl here in year 7 against Luther Burden and the 13-4 Bucks, who have the number 4 offense in the NFL. Very similar build, honestly. These are two very similar teams. They run the football a little bit better than us. We have a little bit better rush defense. But again, another Super Bowl where, honestly, if we don't win, even though we have the stronger team, Tampa is a very good team. But you know me. You put me, the lights are on. The lights are brighter at Jerry World. Anytime, I don't care what team I'm rebuilding. You put me in Jerry World, I need a win. I need to shock the world. And we got Tampa, we got Houston with the Texans looking for their 2nd ever franchise Super Bowl. Bucks are looking for what, their 3rd? Come on, fellas. Let's heat this shit up. 7-7, low scoring. Not what I was expecting between two high-powered offenses. Very annoying that we let the Bucks get that little score before the end of the first half. But we're able to tie this one up in the 3rd quarter, 21-21. And oh my God, how come we got to the red zone and we just turned the ball over? Come on, fellas. 28-28, a minute to go. We have 49 seconds to, oh, it's going to overtime. First drive of overtime, no points for the good guys. Oh, no. Our first Super Bowl win had to go to double overtime. We've lost the Super Bowl before. We lost to the Rams, and we lose in overtime here. Really? J.J. McCarthy, 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. Really? And we got Stingley wanting a new contract? Really? Luckily for Stingley, a couple zeros came off the old contract there, so we'll get him locked in for the remainder of the rebuild. We will... What's his numbers look like? Has he just been like a role player? That's a pretty big 5th-year option for a guy that's... I feel like anybody's getting those numbers. So I actually don't think we're going to pick up the 5th-year option for Johnson. Too expensive for Harris. Too expensive for Fisk. Thank you for your service, fellas. As they've both been here for a minute, shout out Christian Harris finishing his 10 with the Texans with over 1,000 tackles, 53 TFLs, 12.5 sacks, and 8 interceptions. For Fisk, we got 400 tackles, 102 TFLs, 42.5 sacks. Tackle really the only position to replace Fisk that I would be willing to spend right now on the open market, and the market is not booming whatsoever. So we're going to look towards the draft here to get a big-time D tackle. Luckily, very high hit rate at that position. All right, so we need D tackle and linebacker. We let Fisk walk. We let Christian Harris walk. D-tackle, we got some options. We got the cheesy nose tackle pick a little later on. Roosevelt Jordan, probably leaning towards him being our pick right now. 6'6", 301, double B and a C. We got elite strength, pretty damn good athlete as well. Being 6'6", well over 300 pounds, 4'8", 7. A lot of Bs. I mean, I'm not maybe a little concerned that that'll just be a normal dev player. We also need linebacker, but it is an outstanding year to need linebacker. Brewer, Gary, I don't even have a favorite on Kent. He might be the most attainable just because he is 3rd, 4th round and a freak athlete. But all these guys are beasts. I got a nice little stud here at right outside linebacker. Now, the dumbest thing is I have him 90% scouted. I already had the A-tackle B zone coverage. I picked him to be one of our 3 focus scouts to try to unveil the more rating, and I didn't get nothing. Like, how often you could have got 90% scouted and you still only have 2? But the elite athleticism is there. I honestly might try to walk away with 2 linebackers here. But the fact that we got 4 that I really like, and there's a shot that at our 2nd and 3rd round pick, some of these guys are going to be available, leads me towards Roosevelt Jordan being our first pick. D-tackle TCU. Let's go with the dev trait. The 2nd round linebackers are starting to go like flies, so we're going to go Dion Kent. Kind of the least sexy of the line, but obviously that's why he's still available. Athletic traits, though, off the charts. Should be a dev, which is 91 acceleration, 91 speed. Let's go. Very similar build, honestly, to Christian Harris. Like he looked like coming out of Alabama. I'm going to trade up in the 3rd round. The Bengals at 5. I want to grab that other linebacker. They want our backup center, so yeah, we'll do that business. Get to keep our 3rd round pick. So we have picks 5 and 31 here in the 3rd round. But we're going to go and grab our linebacker right away. Very confident this is going to be a dev trait. Not so sure about the base rating, but athletically speaking, this guy has the profile of a hidden dev all damn day and gives us cover because not only do we need a new starter, but Peyton Wilson is coming up to that contract extension. He's at that age, probably not going to be worth it, so we can get younger at that position for the final 3 years of this rebuild. All right, before we get in our draft recap, need to just at least highlight the situation here. You're going to see this cat running in and out of these videos. It's because I got like a green belt. I don't know if you know what a green belt. Homeowners know what I'm talking about with a green belt. But we got a green belt behind our house. And what there is there is this fat, annoying pheasant. You don't know what a pheasant, I mean, you should know what a pheasant is. Looks like even dumber turkey. And like literally it's walking in front of my office, like he's just walking out there squawking. So my cat is indoor cat, losing his mind. And what he should be is losing his mind at this goddamn draft. Roosevelt Jordan, 73 hidden dev D tackle, 71 for Kent, 72 for Baker, all a dev traits. Rest of the draft, not our best work. Whoa, the Titans, surprise, picking 1 overall again. Maybe they finally got themselves a stud there. Justin Harris. I'll sneak a peek because I'm starting to feel bad for the Titans, who have picked first like at least 3 times in the 7-year period. Oh my God, dude, they cannot get it right. I mean, that's not a bad player at all, but they have not drafted they haven't maximized their capital. Not a bad draft there from the Jags. Got some good quantity of nice picks and a big hit for the Colts. Nothing much else after Don Geddes. Week 8 of Year 8 and underperforming. We did just get a player of the week. Week 7, nice win over the Raiders. CJ Stroud with, honestly, that's a very humble player of the week performance, to be honest with you. But we're not getting back to Super Bowl playing like this. Win some, lose some, not good enough. Oh, and we're poor. We're also poor on top of it. We have linebacker depth for Wilson. We weren't planning on extended Johnson. Applewhite is awesome. Mahoney is awesome. Can we even sign one of them? We do not have enough money for Mahoney. We do have enough for Applewhite, even though I do feel like we are very plug-and-play tight end offense. We can at least afford him. By the skin of our teeth, able to scratch and claw to the playoffs. 10-7. Wow. That DeMeco Ryans defense, huh? The most badass thing is that from our draft class, 1st round pick Roosevelt Jordan, superstar dev. 2nd round pick Dion Kent, superstar dev. And the hat trick, John Baker, the man we traded up in the 3rd round. Traded a backup center with the Bengals to go get the 3. That's the good news. The bad news is everyone kind of sucks. CJ Stroud had his worst year in many years. We didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher. We did have 2,000-yard receivers, which is pretty cool. None of them were our 2 superstars, so I'm very terrified that we're about to face some regression. And our defense was absolute butt cheeks. I guess we're good at getting TFLs, but all those superstars, all those X factors still amount to an incredibly underperforming defense. And surprise, surprise, and kind of a rip the Band-Aid off type vibes and get it over with. We lose one and done the playoffs 31-21 to our bitter divisional rival, the Indianapolis Colts. Shout out to the Bengals going around winning the Super Bowl. Hope they enjoyed our backup center. And with no retirements, no way to get a gigantic bump in salary cap, we have to say goodbye to a homegrown 91 franchise left tackle. Luckily, we're able to still find bargains. Bargains are to be had. 2 years, under 10 mil for Brenton Jones. 28, so he's probably pretty close to his ceiling. But to get a Band-Aid left tackle, 79 with a dev trade, can't complain too much. Even though we are, 12, 13 overall point difference between what we're losing and what we're bringing in. All right, so for the draft, we need a D-end. We need a starter at D-end. And the 2 that are somewhat attainable, because we're not going to be able to trade up to the tippy top. We have 15. We'd have to either trade it to 15 and try to leapfrog the Eagles for Mac McGill, who I didn't even bother scouting. I thought he was going higher. 6'5", 253, A pursuit. Combine is solid. Couple greats. Great acceleration, speed, and strength. He looks pretty decent. Or we have right in front of us Rashad Green, who I did scout. I thought he was going to be the only guy that would be attainable for us. A pursuit, B tackle, B block shed. We also have A finesse move, which looks pretty good. The combine is, again, not a world beater. A little worried about the normal dev, honestly, on both of these players and not getting the dev trade. But we'll see what it costs to move up with both the Eagles and the Chiefs. All right, now, moving up a couple spots. They want 2 firsts. Or our future first next year. Actually, I don't hate that one. Or a little more affordable. I think we go with the Eagles trade. All right, let's do a block. We know why. Honestly, they want a first. It's a year that we're not even rebuilding. So the reality is, this pick to move up a couple spots going to cost us our 2nd round this year, our 3rd round this year, our 2nd, 3rd next year. So we're just not going to have a lot of 2s and 3s, which at this point in the rebuild, I'm all right with. I think the biggest question is, as we get our choice of the 2 pass rushers, they're both not good enough athletes for me to, and oh great, the one, what? Where is he? The mock draft lied to us. Mother. Well, you know what? I guess we please have a dev trade. Please have a dev trade. Let's go. Let's go. We have another 1st round pick, so we didn't have to trade out. So look at the contracts ahead. Will Anderson, running back. So we already got a DE. D tackle, running back, safety. That would be a wise direction to go with this 1st round, because I'm not going to be able to sign all 3 of those guys. I did not have anyone scout at safety. It would be a complete blind pick. At D tackle, Adrian Wagner looks solid. 3 Bs and a C. Great speed, great strength, great acceleration. So I have Sean Gilmore, who is A tackle, B finesse move. Not as good of an athlete, but maybe slightly better letter grades. Get the A. There's a hell of a running back available. Oh, Julian Allen out of West Virginia. 3. I mean, you'd like to see an A there, but you look at the athleticism for a guy that's 230, running a 4.40, looks pretty good. But the fact of the matter is, for running backs, especially with how they're utilizing our scheme, you always want to wait. Look, we can wait and get Canty 3rd, 4th round. Might have to find a way to trade up, but he has AA. You look, elite, I mean, not as good of an athlete, but it's pretty close from the 1st rounder. We got great letter grades here. Day 3, Lamonte Patterson, Ohio State A carry, double B, also decent enough combine. So I think we wait on the running backs. I know we butchered with that trade, you know, our mid-round picks, and I think we'll go Adrian Wagner at D tackle. A little worried that it's normal, but hey, let's go, man. Our gut has not led us wrong yet when we're coming with picks. Have we had a wet fart of a pick yet where it's a guy we think's good that comes with a normal dev? I don't think yet in this rebuild, knock on wood. Because we had no picks, had to wait till the 4th round. Patterson is the only guy we kind of preview that's still left on the board. Oh, I wasn't expecting a dev trait. Maybe there's a good rating there, though. So what is going to be likely our last big draft because of the move up? Rashard Green, 76. Hidden desk. That's a good rating. It's a hell of a rating. Will it change when we move him down in the dirt on the D-line? Rating doesn't change, moving to DM, which is good. 76 for Green, 75 for Wagner, hidden dev, 73 for Patterson, the running back. Titans, another big investment. What are they doing? I almost want to rebuild them right now. Just right now, so to save them from years and years of not good drafting. The Jags, pretty mid. The Colts, I saw Quentin Nelson retired, so they double up on guards and get a big-time stud here in the first round. I don't know what to tell you. I did not think year 8 and year 9 would be where this rebuild turns into, like, skippable, not. How is our defense so bad? Like, I can't fire DeMeco, but fireable, probably, given the talent that we have. We do have $63 million, so these are all players that get re-signed and can stay with us for the remainder of the rebuild. We do not have depth at safety, so we want to keep Gilbert in the building. That's the first swing. We have Cameron at D-tackle, Will Anderson, Ben Griffin. Will Anderson. Next up, pay him. With 19 remaining, can we keep Cameron on the D-line? We should be able to on a short-term deal. And obviously, even though he's been nice, we're not paying a running back. From 3-3, we finished 10-7. It's ugly. It's a grindy, underperforming, whatever way you want to look at it, especially for a 95 offense. We have at least scratched and clawed our way in the playoffs. Got to run it the long way with a top 5 offense. With no award winners, we look, CJ Stroud's honestly been kind of average, kind of mid the last 2 years. Griffin with a solid year. Applewhite, the tight end's been incredible. No 1,000-yard receiver, so expecting continued dev trait regression. Baker over 100 tackles, Kent and Johnson as well. Sacks continue to be a struggle, but if you throw the TFLs in it, it's not a bad year. Interceptions down on the defense. Luckily, the fellas put up a big effort so we don't go back-to-back years one and done in the playoffs as we win 34-21 and CJ Stroud plays like CJ Stroud is. Patrick Mahomes bounces around the AFC West. Leaves the Chiefs, goes to the Raiders last year on a 1-year, re-signs with the Chargers on a 1-year. So I'm glad that the stability here of the Texans is what prevails us to the next round. That sets up a matchup in the division round against the AFC South champ Colts. They got Travis Hunter doing everything for them, and they're very good. Almost top 5 offense, almost top 5 defense, but we're ready to shock the world. Oh yeah, they don't got the championship pedigree. They finally, can take us down in the division a little bit, but when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, give me CJ Stroud over Anthony Richardson. Stroud, didn't have the biggest of games. Ben Griffin is trying to justify a contract extension. He was probably our best skill position player, not our tight end. And while our defense did literally nothing, he had the hat trick of rushing touchdowns. So that puts us in the AFC Championship game here in Year 9 against the Baltimore Ravens, who went out splurged, brought in Nick Bosa, who's having a hell of a year. Hey, our Cinderella, I don't want to say we're Cinderella because our team is elite S tier, probably the best team in the league. But given our record, given how our season went, we are the underdog in all of these matchups so far. Yes, let's go. And much like the annoying narrative that the Chiefs right now, IRL in their dynasty, are the underdog, and they use that. If they can do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah, we're the best team. Yeah, we're back in the Super Bowl. Yeah, we're coming off a little bit of a down year on pretty much every measurable. But you know what? In a down year, we still find a way to fall into the Super Bowl. That's a winning organization, a winning culture. Kudos to DeMeco Ryans. So back in the Super Bowl, and we got the 15-2 Caleb Williams-led Atlanta Falcons, who also had the number 2 offense, number 2 defense in the NFL. Get an idea what we're dealing with. 99 Pitts, 99 Bijan, 99 Caleb, 97 Tackle, 94 DN, Laster, 93, Drake London, 92. 90 corner, Tavondre Sweat, 91. They have Scarton. Whoo! That's a pretty good team they got there. But for us, here in Houston, this feels like almost a team of destiny. We couldn't string together 2-3 wins in a row in the regular season to save our lives, but here we are, going on a run. Wild card, going through the gauntlet, divisional round, AFC Championship game. We've been here. 2 Super Bowl losses. We have got victory once. I do not want to lose 3 Super Bowls in a rebuild. Our first points come off a safety. What? Oh my God, we're seeing kind of the CJ Stroud season that was not nearly good enough. But very low scoring game. We get a field goal to give us a lead here in the third, but it just feels like it's impossible for us to score touchdowns, and the Falcons are getting them when they need to. And wow, fellas. 3 Super Bowl losses in a fucking... I didn't even expect to make the playoffs. But 3 Super Bowl losses is, even though we got 1, 3 L's is rough. You know what? He was so damn good, and I don't really think we could sign anybody else. Let's franchise tag him. Get him back for 1 more year. We only got 1 year left anyways. For our final draft, literally our roster is complete. We have 1 linebacker spot that's, if we're in base, there's a little bit of a weak link there. So linebacker's literally the only single spot that someone could potentially start, and even then they're linebacker 3. We got Marco Baker, 2nd, 3rd round grade, A zone coverage, B tackle. A little bit undersized, but he makes up for it. You know what I like in iPlayer? He's what I like. Not crazy rating though. 72 hidden dev for Marco Baker. Brings some great athleticism, but I mean, we did sell out on this draft. No 2nd, no 3rd round picks. Titans did a solid job. I can't pick it tough. It has been a rough go for the Tennessee Titans. There's no way around it. Good draft here from the Jacks. 75 corner, 76 linebackers, 74 guard. That's probably their best draft of the rebuild. And the Colts, who have been a pain in our ass, they have a good draft as well. Couple 70s. Not bad. I'd probably give them the best draft of the division here. So we're now here at year 10. This is it. Our final chance to make amends for losing 3 Super Bowls into this rebuild. CJ Stroud, 2-time MVP, leads the offense. Starting to see a little signs of regression, losing his 99 down to a 98. Still an X factor. I think given 2 okay years, lucky that he is still an X factor. We've lost dev traits. Tank Dell still here. Gilmore's lost his dev trait. Poindexter's kept his superstar. Griffin was arguably our best skill position player last year. He's superstar. Applewhite X factor at tight end. Likely shot he joins the 99 club by the end of the season. O-line has been great. We got Gardner 99, 83, 89, 89, 90. It's the best offense in the league. Looking at the defense, I don't know how we're getting these X factors. Our defense has been incredibly underperforming. Will Anderson makes sense because he's been getting 25 TFLs a year. That makes sense. What has our corners done? Stingley's living off the 7 picks he had 3 years ago. But we got a 99 X factor, 99 X factor, 95 X factor. Kent has gone up to an X factor. Baker's kept his superstar. Jordan's kept his superstar. They were superstars right out the gate when we drafted them. But there's no weakness. This team is a complete team who absolutely should get us our 2nd Super Bowl of the rebuild here at the buzzer in year 10. And in year 10, we were dominant. Can't ask for a lot more than that. 14-3, win the AFC South for the 6th time in this rebuild. Defense is a little bit better, at least in terms of points per game allowed, and we finished with the #1 offense in terms of points scored. CJ Stroud played well, 4,100 yards, 34 touchdowns through 3 picks. Running the ball, though, I'm glad we kept Ben Griffin around. 1,200 yards, 18 touchdowns. And he got himself running back of the year. Greg Butler, our 3rd corner, our slot corner, gets DB of the year, with Will Johnson and Stingley all coming within the top 5. That's what you want to see from a shutdown secondary. You get all those X factors, they better play like it. The interceptions look good. The sacks are solid. That's probably as well-rounded as they've been, but generally speaking, this DeMeco Ryans defense has struggled to get big-time sack production. Great numbers here throwing the ball, and shout out Tank Dell finishing the rebuild with 1,000 yards. Because we're here in year 10, let's take a look at our stats. What we've been able to accomplish in this entire 10-year rebuild. CJ Stroud, 46,000 yards passing, 362 touchdowns, only 51 picks. He has 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl. And I think getting another Super Bowl, getting a 2nd Super Bowl here in year 10 should lock him for the Hall of Fame. Ben Griffin, not bad. 5 years as a starter, 5,300 yards, 69 touchdowns for him. Good. Hey, he's developed into a superstar, been a great player. Not bad for a day 3 pick. Tank Dell finished with just over 800 catches, 10,000 receiving yards, 91 touchdowns. Hell of a career for a guy that a lot of people thought was too small when he was coming out of Houston. 6,300 yards, 63 touchdowns in 6 seasons for Applewhite, so averaging 1,010. Very difficult to do as a tight end. 5,400 yards, 37 touchdowns for one of the most athletic freaks we've seen in a long time. And Gilmore, Poindexter was solid as well through 4 years. Defensively, 857 tackles. Stingley leading the team We got from Will Anderson, 196 TFLs, 86.5 sacks. Wish we had more sacks, but all in all, very good player. Deserved X Factor, but never really had that legit partner in crime. We started with Danielle Hunter, who was solid, but sacks just weren't a big priority here for the Texans. Stingley, though, 37 career picks. That's up there. I mean, now that we're doing 10-year rebuilds, we're going to see how that... But I think that's a hell of a pace car. Stingley, 37. Wouldn't be surprised if we do 15 rebuilds. He does not finish with the most career picks. Will Johnson with 19, 11 from McGee, 8 from Butler. The first round of the playoffs for us in the divisional, we got the 10-7 Jaguars, who have a top 3 defense, but other than that, I'm not particularly worried that they offer a whole lot, and they sure as shit did. 1-point victory, but the Texans are back in the AFC Championship game. Trevor Lawrence still doing his thing, almost 400. I mean, that's... Neither quarterback played particularly well. Was it our defense? Not even. Chop Robinson, 2.5 sacks. They had more picks. I don't know how we won that game, to be honest with you, but we'll take it. It looks like we got to run through the South if we want to feature in the Super Bowl again. Colts, man. Colts. I mean, it's one of those things. I feel like they haven't even drafted that good to be like this dynasty. And it's an ugly win, but it's a win nonetheless. 17-14 on the back of a Cameron Player of the Week defensively, 10 tackles in a second. A CJ Stroud protecting the football performance. But, I mean, not overly hot. And I assume we're going to meet the Saints in the Super Bowl, and they played a lot better. The Super Bowl in year 10 is set. The 12-5 Saints against the 14-3 Texans. Look at the Saints, top 10 offense, top 10 defense. They look slightly better, but I mean, look at the ratings. That's all you need to look at. 97 offense, 92 defense, 94 overall. This is a stronger team than what we had in our first 10-year rebuild with the Bears. But we're staring down the barrel potentially. I don't even want to say it. 4 Super Bowl losses. So let's hope we finish this one out here on a happy ending. It's a lot of red. A lot of Texan fans know that this is end of an era. Might be their last chance at a Super Bowl for a while. And you know what? I'll take CJ Stroud. He has the experience in these moments. We haven't got blown out in these Super Bowls. It's been very close, very dramatic endings. And I like seeing that right before halftime. Of course, right before halftime, we actually give up the score to go and tied at 14. And our defense, you know what? We're coming in here. We got to help them out a little bit. You want us to go field goal? I go, We're going to go dagger. We're going to find the veteran, Tank Dell. Him and CJ Stroud have been doing it for a minute. A lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns between the two. We get a somewhat clean pocket and able to find a soft spot there for Tank Dell on 4th down to set us up in a great scoring position to start the 4th quarter. Come on, fellas. Touchdown. Let's go. Up 4. That is a very quick 3 and out. Giving the ball back to the Saints after our defense got a stop. Oh, come on. This better not be a running clock. If this is a running clock, I'm going to lose my mind. Dell's with the name Applewhite X Factor. 3rd and 10. You know I want a shot. This is all or nothing. Really? We just can't go to over. I got PTSD. We can't go to overtime. Gilmore at the top has 99 speed, 99 acceleration. Four Super Bowl losses. At least they weren't in a row like the Bills. 5 Super Bowls total. We won a Super Bowl. So, hey, we did our job. Mission accomplished. First Super Bowl in Texans history. Did it with Stefon Diggs, the man in the picture, the reason why we picked them. Holy fuck. 4 Super Bowl losses. 4 L's. I mean, maybe we could have kicked the points there. Played it safe. Played for overtime. I'd rather go and win it. And I thought with how much big plays we can usually hit, I didn't expect them to get 2 stops back to back. I mean, if you lose 4 Super Bowls, can you go to the end? Can you be considered a Hall of Famer? That's a lot of failure on the biggest stage. You know, he got 1. I don't know. I don't know if this goes down as a successful rebuild, but we built a goddamn juggernaut and had a lot of success. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. As I said at the very beginning of this video, because of the Stefon Diggs trade that prompted us to rebuild it, the Bills need a little TLC. Should they be up next? How do you fix the Bills, who now are seemingly, with the uber talented Josh Allen, looking into like, are we squandering his window? How do we fix it? How do we remain competitive after losing what they have lost? But I'm open for any other rebuilds that you guys want to see. Just let me know in the comment section below. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Thank you very much for clicking on the video and supporting the channel. And I'll see you guys back here on the next one. Till then, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one.